Welcome to Service Six Sigma, a live stream for mobile service professionals. Great news! You're here early. Please stand by as our live stream is about to begin. Thank you. Did you know that Service Six Sigma has 6 sectors? Here they are: attract, convert, deliver, control, scale, and give back.
Hello, Ben here with Service Six Sigma. Are joining our live stream early to watch our pre-reels that we have on our live stream. Play this for about 10 minutes and then we will start our show at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you.
The things I'm talking about tonight is this this funky weird acronym called FRAP. Okay, what does this stand for? So the first letter in this FRAP formula is frequency, and I have the word dentist here. Okay, so this is the first thing I'm going to throw back to another industry is a dentist. So as a service business, one thing that we can do to increase our revenue and increase the value of our customers is increase the amount of times that we service them. So window cleaning is really good at this. Carpet cleaning is usually pretty good at this. Pressure washing, depending on where you're at, could be challenging. But think about, I wrote dentist there, right? So think about it when you go to the dentist or you go to get your hair cut. When you're leaving that service, as you're paying or before you pay, before you walk out of there, what are they doing? They're booking your next appointment.
Visit www.service6sigma.com to finish watching the 4-piece marketing puzzle. Thank you.
Back in June of 01, someone left me unconscious on the side of the road in a hit-and-run motor wreck. I lost my career in IT. I lost my savings. I lost a photographic memory. I was messed up. Fast forward a little ways to July of 2002. I have an eviction notice from our apartment. I have turned my BMW into the bank. I'm waiting on Italy to make parts for my Ducati. I am 2 weeks out of a full shoulder surgery. I'm in an isolation brace, a neck brace, and a morphine pump surgically implanted in my shoulder. I call up one of my buddies and I say, "Hey, will you come over and shake my couch out for me?" He laughs. He comes over. He shakes my couch out. I grab all of the change off the floor and ask him to run me to a dollar store. I buy a bottle of awesome window cleaner, the cheap stuff, and a roll of paper towels. I also buy an empty squirt bottle so I can water down the LA Awesome window cleaner. The next day, I shove my sling just full of paper towels and I hook the bottle of window cleaner on my belt hoop, and I start walking down the road, going business to business, just simply stating, "Hello, my name's Brian. I'm poor, I'm hungry. I'd really like to eat tonight. May I clean your windows?"
Want to hear more of Poor Man Brian's story? Visit www.service6sigma.com to hear his full story. We also have many more great podcast videos to hear from as well. If you want to be part of our future podcasts, please message Ben Bergloff or Perry Tate on Facebook. Thank you. We have many guests that we have on our show. Be part of a growing community of guest speakers and share your professional insight in the mobile service industry. Welcome to a free live stream built around 6 sectors. This live stream created for mobile service professionals. We would like to introduce you to your hosts, Ben Bergloff and Perry Tate. Welcome to Service Six Sigma, your live stream for mobile service professionals.
Woohoo! Here we go, Mr. Ben Bergloff. And then put Kurt's banner up, right? Because we didn't get to play that very much. Look at that. We're going to be talking today about making money around the clock, right?
Making money.
Make money while you sleep. Right?
Make
so
it
we've got to
rain.
get CURT Kempton. But first, I'm going to quickly explain what is Service Six Sigma because it sets the frame for the conversation. Service Six Sigma is for the service industry. It's for all of service industry, and we're going to be inviting people from all sorts of, different mobile contractor industries. And the Six Sigma part, well, Six Sigma is actually a genuine business term. A business at Six Sigma is as close to perfect as humanly possible. And you become perfect. The process to perfection is never achievable, but the process towards perfection is the elimination of errors as you know that they can possibly occur. So you actually put systems and processes in to prevent them from happening again, thereby improving the quality of your business. So this is like a little, we're all on the runway and, Boeing's way up in the air, but we're on the runway running along and we're just perfecting things as we go along. And then that's what the Six Sigma is about, is to have guests that have gems, nuggets, that you hear and you go, that's me and I can do that. Or that's amazing, I should do that. Whatever it is, like improve you or improve your business, because it's a journey through personal and professional experiences. So what to help us sort of frame that, we have the 6 sectors of Six Sigma, which is attract. This is the prospecting process, right? How do we attract customers with as from a social influencer point of view, or social media marketing, how you put your truck wrap together, how you put your uniforms together, like how do you get people to notice you and come towards you? Having got their attention, we now are in the sales process, the conversion process. So we want to convert them into a sale. And that's where we have our special guest today, who we always mention, ResponsiBid. ResponsiBid is one of the ways to automate the conversion process. But there are other people who go door to door. There are other people who jump on the phone and use Google Earth. So we discover all of the different ways to create the sale. Having got the sale, we now need to deliver. So we need tools and technique, on-site management, on-site processes, all that kind of, the system, the standard operating procedures on-site is really critical to make sure that you're as efficient as possible so you can fit as many jobs in as possible, make as much money as possible per hour, right? And return for the service that you're providing. Now, what happens if you're doing all that out of a notebook or an Excel spreadsheet? It starts to get a little bit out of control. So you need control. This is where your CRMs come in, your software add-ons, but it's also your standard operating procedures, your MSD books, your training regimes, your training manuals, and all that sort of thing. How you answer the phone even is in this area, the control area. Once you've got this, you've got a whole truck running and it's running smooth. And then you go, this is replicable. So we scale the business. Now, some people scale by adding more services, but the real, one that we're looking at is that scale if you want to go to a multi-truck business of delivering your service. This would define success, one would say, in our industry. So then it's time to give back. And that's where Service Six Sigma fits in, is we give people an opportunity to they give us an opportunity to interview them, actually, but we interview them with the intention of them giving back, just adding something of value, from a natural little chat like this. And that is all I'm going to say now. I'm going to introduce my good friend who I haven't seen for a long time, Mr. CURT Kempton.
Hello. Wow, that was an intro.
Well,
love it.
We always say you should make lasting impressions on people, right? And your lasting impression on me is allowing your children to jump off the top of a staircase down an entire flight of stairs and land in a beanbag on the landing with a wall there.
Remember that? All right. Yeah, that was was it 12 years ago? 12?
10, 11 or 12, something like that. Yeah. Me
Yeah.
and George are just like amazed. Dad's so cool. Like, not many dads would let that happen. You probably wouldn't let it happen now because they'd punch a hole in the wall if they hit it. They're all big people now, right?
I only have, of my 4 kids, only 2 are living at home anymore. They're all growing up.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Dude, a lot's changed since I talked to you last. I'm getting up
When
there,
you met
bro.
me, I had none living at home. Now I have one living at home because I'm raising. I've got Ollie here. Mum's still at work in China, so Ollie's with me here.
Yeah, that's so great.
So I'm Mr. Mum, Mr. Dad, Nanny, because he broke his leg, Kurt. I didn't tell you. I don't know if you know. Right?
Yeah,
So
you showed me a picture of him riding his motorcycle with a broken leg, and I thought, there's a cool dad. Yeah,
that's exactly right.
What you should have had him doing is sitting on a beanbag, but
yes, yeah, we'll arrange that. But we never sent that video to Mum. I got to tell you.
Oh man.
So how you been?
I've been good. Man. I'm happy.
Yeah, you do it right. Yeah, that's great. So let's talk about that little journey when you had 5-star window cleaning and you thought of automating the sales process. I think are you the category buster? Like, were you the first to crack into that, or did you get inspired by something? I know a lot of people got inspired by you. That was a journey. People popping up everywhere going, we've got the same as ResponsiBid.
Yeah. So I had a window washing, pressure washing business, and I had been raised to think that salespeople were like, I don't know. Slimy. Yeah. Sleazy.
For want of a better word.
Yeah. And so it was just the way I was raised. I don't know what, or maybe, I don't know. I don't know what my parents did, or maybe I just was born this way, but I just always thought that if you talk to a salesperson, they're manipulating you. If their lips are moving, they're lying. And so I just innocently started a window washing company thinking that's a good living, right? It's a good, honest living. And the first thing I had to do was go sell a job. And I'm like,
oh, you had to be Mr. Sleazebag.
Yeah. I'm like, oh crap. I didn't know I signed up. It just didn't even occur to me that I had signed up to be a salesman. And I'm like, well, surely I can be an honest salesman. But then I misinterpreted honesty with, shortchanging my family. And like, I'd show up to a job and quote a job, and it's a nice, sweet little old lady. And, I could do this job for you for free. I got the tools out in the truck. I'll go do it for you right now. Or then I would get to the job and I'll throw all this in for free, and or I could just discount it down. No one would spend $200 to get their windows cleaned, so I'll just do it for you for $100. Or anyway, it started with a lot of anxiety, and I had a friend who worked at Infusionsoft, and I'd been using that as my CRM. Now it's called Keep. But I was using that as my CRM, and it had a lot of automations in it. And he's the one that recommended I should have an automatic thing on my website for people to get quotes, because people would submit from my website, and then I would have to hurry in and get a quote out, and then I would be beaten by whoever they called after me. So it just started as that. And then I actually saw a picture when we were doing the pre-reel. You had Kevin Dabrowski on here.
Yeah.
So Kevin Dabrowski is the one who introduced me to the idea of 3 packages. Brennan Williams. Did you have Brennan Williams on there? I didn't see.
Not yet. No.
Okay. Yeah, you should have Brennan on too. He's
write
amazing.
that down.
Yeah, Brennan Williams. He introduced me to sort of an implementation of 3 packages, and I just started kind of building an automation for my company. And then from there, things exploded. So I built a system that would sell, and it didn't care if it was an old lady or a millionaire tycoon 20-something. It just sold in a systematic way. And I started realizing, holy mackerel, people will pay for good service. And it's my job to deliver great service, like do great. So anyway, I I went out and started kicking some booty with this automation and realized you don't have to be a great salesman. You just have to have a great sales system. And from there, like, just life-changing. I sold my cleaning company 5 years after I opened it. So that would have been back in 2013. I sold that company.
What was your tagline? Like, we're not a window cleaning company. We're a service.
Yeah, we're a customer service company who happens to clean windows. You got it, man. You remember that. Wow, you have a great memory.
You've made a great impression.
Well, that's cool. So yeah, we're having a ball, man. A lot of things have changed since we got things started, but we're no longer just an online quoting software. We're an in-person tool that, salespeople can use, and we still use packages and bundles and automatic follow-up, and we hook into the CRMs that people use to, take the sales process and funnel it into the CRM.
Yep.
So yeah, a lot's changed obviously over the years.
Yeah, but that's great because, I mean, no different than us. A lot have changed with us, from our beta brush packs to radial brushes now, like they're a completely different thing. But you got to stay on the path, and you got to keep listening to the customer, and then you listen to the customer, and then you and that's what I know you do that as well, because you're customer facing. And I love CEOs that are custom. Like, now we're CEOs, right? But before we were just dudes, like window cleaners. Yeah, that's right. And I often think like how strange it is that as your business succeeds, people put you up on a higher step, like, and you go, no, like, I'm still on the ground, right? But people, we don't necessarily raise ourselves. Some guys do, chest beaters and all that, but guys like you guys, I think guys like me, we don't elevate ourselves, but people kind of elevate you, as a result of the success. But anyway, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Well, I always appreciate that. I remember when you came out with the beta brush pack. You remember the giraffe commercial with the like licking his tongue?
Goodness me.
Yeah, you remember that?
We did a voiceover on the giraffe. Yeah. I got myself a beta brush pack.
And I remember thinking when you first got out, I was like, dude, this guy, he is such a marketer, such a good marketer. First time I met you, you're wearing a suit coat, I believe, that said "Future of Cleaning" on it. Like, you and Harrison both. Yeah, man.
Yeah, we had it embroidered. We bought the suits, and we had to go to a seamstress and get the sleeves taken off, and then embroider futureofcleaning.com down the sleeves. And we'd only been in business, like most people don't know that, but we came to America 6 months after we started the business for the first time. That was then. Yeah. Like, we had no money. Like, Harrison, I don't know if you remember,
was a child, like a full-on child at the time, right?
Right.
Yeah.
He got to kiss an American on that trip. He was 17.
Oh my God. Of course he did. Of course he did.
That was at where were we? NOLA, right?
NOLA, yeah. New Orleans.
Yeah, New Orleans, yeah. Oh my. Yeah, so that journey of listening, and so Kurt, how do you get the ideas? how you change, like, over the years, like, how, for all the feedback that you get, how do you, what's the process where you go, I'm going to implement that?
Well, that's changed a lot over the years too. Well, I mean, it started with just being driven by what I needed. And so people would make suggestions and I'd be like, would I have needed that? Like, yeah. And I did it. And
but isn't that the beauty of you being in the business and then serving the business,
Yeah. And then I mean, so I think it really had to, when I first launched ResponsiBid, we had sunscreens, but we didn't have storm windows as one of our window cleaning things. And Ben, in your area, you guys have any storm windows?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. A few.
Just a few.
You love them though, right? You just
Hate
love
them.
storm windows to death.
Literally.
What a disaster product.
All right. So
With the true
imagine,
passion.
do you guys have sunscreens in your area?
Yeah, like bug spring
you do?
screens.
No, sunscreens.
Oh no, not really.
Okay. Okay.
No.
Perfect example. Thank you, Ben. I have prepared you well. Thank you.
Good.
Okay. So I'm at my very first show trying to sell ResponsiBid, and I'm talking to a guy like Ben, and Ben, Ben equivalent, back in 2011, says, "Hey, Kurt, what are sunscreens?" I'm like, "You don't know what sunscreens are? It's what people put on their windows on the sunny side of their house so that it shades the window and the house doesn't heat up as much, and they're a pain in the butt to clean." And like, you must be from Phoenix, Arizona. Yeah, I am. Like, oh, okay. Well. And then they're like, okay, well, how do you charge for storms? Because that's the question I want to know. We've got triple track storms and, quadruple Pella, blah, blah, blahs with the low-E inside coating, And I'm like, broski, I don't know. I have no idea what you're talking about right now. I don't even know. So anyway, it really came from collaborations. So at NOLA, I collaborated with people who were there. Think about Chris Lamborghini's was there. Thad Eckhoff. Oh man, Seth Fensterstock.
Seth, I was going to say Seth Fensterstock. Yeah,
Seth was there. There was a lot of different people. Well, George was there, I believe.
Yeah. God, that's I think we met there. Yeah.
Yeah. And I get ideas there. And then I went to, I think one of the other first ones I went to is Tony Evans had a Midwest window cleaning event in Iowa. And again, not a big event. I bet you there's 30 people maybe in that event.
Yeah.
But made friends with Jason Hatch there. Tony Evans had stuff to tell me. Jason and I we still even talk to this day. But like Jason.
Us too. Me and Jason are super close.
Okay. So awesome guy.
Yeah,
and
total.
Just, hey, Kurt, have you ever thought of this? Hey, Kurt, you ever thought of that? And so you start making these friends, but they become like loyal, like connoisseurs of what you need, and they give you feedback. And so it was very personal at the time. It was extremely personal for all of the things that people would give me in terms of what they needed for their sales process to work, and then we would implement it. Now I have a once a week meeting with a vision. It's called a product vision meeting. And I have this awesome employee. Her name is Brittany. And she is among the people, and she collects feedback from our customers. She collects feedback from our business team, our account coaches who are setting up accounts. And she's on Facebook. She does lots of user testing with prototypes. She does lots of testing with the new stuff. She does testing with the old stuff. And she gets all that feedback. And then in our vision meeting, we talk about what she's thinking priorities are. And we just try to stay on track with our mission, which is to be the greatest selling tool in the home service industry. And does this bring us closer, or does this bring us further away? And what are people clamoring for? And sometimes people clamor for things that just wouldn't fit inside of our box, and we have to be disciplined. Other times people are like opening our eyes to what we need. And I'm just going to be really candid here. We just rolled out the biggest update in the history of the company, like massive rollout. And we got a lot of the product stuff pretty right, but Brittany tested a lot of people who were talking theory, and we got some things wrong. We had to get right. But the worst part is that we hadn't been able to test everything in every infinite scenario it could be in. And man, oh man, we broke some eggs. Like we made an omelet. Yeah.
Apple Maps.
Yes, that's one of the ones I was thinking about. Yes.
So here's your learning. Tim, I swear, Tim Cook had already written that letter of apology.
You think
I
so?
swear he knew there was no way he could test the product and get it all right. He just knew. Okay, then he's going to go, okay, Steve Jobs said, entrepreneurs ship it, right? Here's the letter, the press release, right? When the shit hits the fan, we're not going to be panicking. We've already got our letter. We're cool, right? We're going to put this letter out and say, sorry, dude, you drove into a lake. That wasn't our intention. But can you just tell me which lake it was and what you put in which drove you into the lake, and we'll get that fixed for you right away.
And we spent the last 2 months of what lake did you drive into? What did you put into the map to get into the lake? It's our fault. We are owning that. I'm not saying you drove into the lake like Michael Scott, idiot, but we need to fix it. And I have eaten more humble pie in the last 2 months than maybe my whole life combined. But that all said, it feels so good to be moving through that the way we have, and the team in place, and having, I brought up Brittany. We have a lot of other great teammates, but Brittany has been amazing to like go, oh, you thought that was good when we were in our prototype meeting, but now that you're using it in real life, tell me your real experience. And gathering that feedback and turning it into, okay, we're going to put this into the beta product and we're going to make it better. And so, your original question, which I realize I've meandered and danced all around and maybe not actually affected, but all of these changes have come from either real world experience or simulated experience. And my experience is that simulated experiences result in, unfortunately, not super great data. And real world experiences bring amazing insight and innovation, I guess is the word I would use for that. So it's been a ride, man, but we're having a ball. But
that's the thing behind the scenes. Like it's 100%, but the challenges because you're basically a manufacturer of a intangible product, right? I'm a manufacturer of a tangible product. And whilst people expect you to have tested everything and get it right, you can't simulate reality, and you can't make it real without it needs to be in the market, and you need to get the feedback. It needs, for us, things need to break, but when we send it to Eric Gillian, Peter Thomas, Byron Guest, these are super professional window cleaners. They don't break anything. They don't bash stuff from frame to frame on a fiberglass bowl, or, you know what I mean? So, and the same
whip effect. Yeah.
Somebody, we put out the fog blaster for COVID and all that, and guys, some of the people I really respect said, "Oh, if you put together a professional pack and it's do this, and I go, "What a great idea," And then they did, like, we sold some, but they never bought it, and that's the same scenario, right? And so, but it's fantastic for Brittany to know this, and your future is going to be, the future is going to be exactly the same path, but you're going to know more how to handle it. Do you reckon?
Oh, I reckon. The thing is that there's nothing more real, and I haven't brought up David yet, and I'll try not to get teary-eyed here, but David on the front lines of our chat inside of the app, guys, I'm trying to do this and this doesn't work, and this, and yeah, of course they're pissed. They're trying to give a quote. The season's starting. And David's just taking it on the chin. And, I say bless his heart. If you're in the wrong part of the country.
It says means the opposite. It's that Ecos territory. That's the opposite, right?
But yeah. And I'm saying it in a way that means bless his actual heart for Realio. That guy he knew where we were going, and he had, obviously sincerely apologized. But for us, we had to kill so many bugs so fast. And the developers are working behind the scenes, and David's on the front lines, and then we got Hunter and Sydney and Brittany was on the front line. We got John on the front line.
Everybody's on the front line.
Yeah. And everybody's just Carissa, everybody's all hands on deck. And I got to tell you, like, when you hear someone who is in that pain, like, that makes it so real. And it's not just real for them. I mean, it was always real for all of us. But when you roll this new thing out, you go, wow, that prototype, as cool as it was, it really puts some poignancy. And to convey that to the developers was such a powerful thing.
That's my question is, like, how did you go from all this live chat coming in at you and being able to filter that into instructions and communications? Like, well, what? Because you must have put a war room together in an instant, but you need half your war room on the front line to be able to demand the live chat because it's going hot. So you need to add more users to the live chat. Then you got to get, like, what happened we've answered the live chat. It's our fault. How do you get that filtered down to know what is the bug and where is it and who's got to recode it?
We have a cool process. It's always been in place for bugs. So we already had a process in place, and that was good. But the process requires who had the problem, what was the link to the place where the problem occurred, what happened, what was expected to happen, and can you show me a video or a screenshot of it happening? So we fill that out and we go as fast as we can, and then we tag that customer so that when the bug is fixed, we can respond to that customer. And yeah, it's a mess. And those videos, they're coming so fast and hot. We're like, hey, devs, every video they watch, they get to see how this is really affecting a person in real life. And that meant, I think, a lot. I actually had never done the math on this before, but it wasn't until, we had an outage. We went down. Our server went down.
No. In the middle of this.
In the middle of all this. We hadn't accounted for the fact that because we had to upgrade the database to a new version of MySQL, we hadn't accounted for the fact that we would be spending about 1 week, indexing about 1.5 billion lines of MySQL. So that's a lot of CPU power, and it just, took us down. Like, it just took us down. And then we're adding memory. We're adding tons of, because it needed more memory, a little more CPU. But apparently when you got 3 servers all behind one load balancer, you can't add memory to one. So now we can't get up. We can't figure out why adding memory is not working. We're at AWS adding memory. It says memory added. Great. Same memory. What the heck? We're down again. So we add memory. Looks like it accepted it. We're down again. Same memory. It wasn't until we removed the other 2 servers out from behind the load balancer we could add the memory. And it goes, oh, cool. Then we could add the memory to the unadded ones, put those in behind the load balancer. Everything's great. But we spent 4 hours trying to figure that out, and everybody's screaming at us. Totally. So anyway, I'm telling you all that because in that moment, the outpouring of not love, whatever the outpouring was, we got an outpouring, and it incentivized. So we got up, we did an analysis report as a dev team, trying to figure out what happened. How do we keep this from happening again? How do we put alarms in place to keep from happening? How do you throttle things when we have to throttle? All the things that we had to learn from it. Obviously, you don't want to learn.
Six Sigma, by the way. That's the meaning of Six Sigma. All of that. What you just rattled then.
Not learning a lesson 2 times?
No, but every time something goes wrong, you put a system and process in to catch it next time, right?
Yeah. So we had 4 hours of, I told my wife, I said, if hell is worse than what I just went through, I promise to be good. I will be so good for the rest of my life. So anyway, it was horrible, Perry. I just wanted to hide. And I knew the only thing I could do is go onto Facebook Live that night. And if I want to hide, that means I need to get in front of the audience and talk to them, which I did. Yes. And they were so sweet and kind, once it was up and running. Everyone was so nice. But okay, so you asked a different question, and I want to get to that. So here's what the developers, I feel, really pushed me to learn. I did some simple math. How many bids do we do in a day? And you can clearly see on our server traffic, you can see that about 12 hours a day, our server is pushed, right? So we've got Australian customers, we've got some European customers. There's not enough traffic to really even make our servers know that they're there.
Right.
But our US customers spend about 12 hours a day really pushing the servers hard. I did some math to say, take all quotes given in a 24-hour period. And it turns out that within that 12-hour period, this is obviously just a little bit rough math because it's a bell curve, but we do about 1 bid per second every day, every weekday, not weekends, but weekdays.
Wow.
So 1 bid per second. So if we're down for 4 hours,
4 hours,
how many bids did we affect? And that does not include people going in and editing bids or modifying a bid or a follow-up going out to their customer to follow up on a bid or scheduling a bid that's already been given that needs to be scheduled in CRM. I'm only talking about giving a bid. And I think that was the big learning experience when I pulled all the developers aside and I said, guys, listen, every second that we inconvenience our customers, we are keeping someone from doing their job that feeds their family, right?
Yeah.
We make them look bad,
Yep.
Yep. And we don't have anyone who works in our company who isn't an absolutely good heart, right? We hire people for their heart, and then we, make sure they got the talents that they need to go with it. But
100%. We do the same, by the way. We have a 6-hour recruiting process in our factory. And
Okay.
people go, that's ridiculous. But it's 6 hours. The first 2 hours is all who are you?
Who are you?
Not what can you do?
Who are you and where have you been and what, how
what do you think about your last boss? And what do you think about people?
Yeah. You hire the heart. So because we'd already hired the heart, conveying that message to the devs was so good, because while David and the other people on the front line are super connected to this, I have to connect these devs. They've got to be connected to this. Yeah. So I'm happy to say I could not be smiling. I was working 20-hour days. It was, Perry, I'm not even kidding. I'm not exaggerating to you. I was working 20-hour days. I was so stressed to the very max. There was so many times that I just was burning inside, just the pain of, I know these people, they deserve better from me. And we thought when we rolled this out, we'd done all the testing we could possibly do. And these people use the software in so many infinite ways, and their CRMs have infinite configurations and like just all sorts of stuff. And to be on the other side of it and be able to reflect on it with you is a really good thing. But it's so wonderful to know that no matter who it is in this company, they're all connected to the customer. And I think that is what makes us special.
Yeah. I 100% agree. And it is incredible. It's an incredible story, right? It's really what happens in life. It's fascinating to think about the crossroads, and what I think also is just this the sense of euphoria. Like, let's talk about this, the juxtaposition of the sense of euphoria that we're going live now with this amazing thing.
Yeah.
And this,
yeah, that happened. That did happen.
It's bizarre. And if everybody knew, like, if you can check the heart of the person who's your provider, but how many people get to find out who is the leader of the company that I buy from, right? What's their character? They don't, but like so many people who run businesses don't put themselves out as a supplier business, don't put themselves out front,
It's true. It's true. And I know why they don't. I mean, I told you, my first instinct was to run and be under a rock. I don't want to be exposed. It hurts my feelings. I feel bad. It's embarrassing. I mean, honestly, It's embarrassing.
I was a door knocker, so I've got the other way. But hey, Kurt, in this rollout, like, what made it amazing? Like, what are the bits that are incredible that you were like before so proud of, then not proud of, and then now proud again?
Well, so we basically changed the complete architecture of the software from being very flat and basically one quote, one property, one person. We had already put some architecture in place to be able to have multiple bids for people, but we needed to have multiple properties, multiple contacts. We needed to be able to bring out a whole new interface to be able to work in using new server. It's not serverless technology. It's an AWS product called Amplify that auto scales a little bit better. And we had to basically transform our whole old API into a new GraphQL API, which I know that's kind of some weird words, but we had to modernize the tech, and we had to 3-dimensionalize it so we could be more texturized for CRMs. CRMs have always been pretty 3-dimensional. When I rolled out the first version of ResponsiBid, I was afraid people would think that I would steal their leads because I had a window cleaning company. So
yes,
dumb old Kurt thinking, what if people think I'm dishonest? So instead of just building the right thing from the get-go, I just built it so that no data even got saved in ResponsiBid. The first version of ResponsiBid sent a database dump to your email and told you about the quote that you gave and the package pricing. And I could say, I have no way of looking at any of your bids ever. That tells you how I probably need to see a therapist. I was raised in a way to just not trust a salesperson. And what did I do? I made my job easier by saying, hey, Kurt, he's not a salesperson. I'm so wholesome, But I am now finally past paying the price of that stupid decision all those years ago. Everything's been migrated over. All of the new, all of the code that we use now, obviously there's still legacy code in there, but all the new systems that we've rolled out and all the backbone and foundation that we're built on is all super modern stuff that will allow us to do the things that customers have been asking for years. And I'm not allowed to say all the stuff that's about to come out, but I can tell you that all of the appendages that we need to do the different stuff, it's all ready to go. In fact, we expected to roll this out, and we already expected to have the next update out that was going to plug into the next appendage. But the next 2 months are going to be some refactoring and refinement of some of the stuff we've learned from what we did. But that's, again, Six Sigma. I'm not super familiar with Six Sigma, but based on what you said, in software, it's called the agile process. And that is to say that we move quickly and learn from what the feedback we're given is, and we don't allow the roadmap to dictate the speed that we move, because we need to, it's customer first. So it's not product first. Product supports customer, not the other way around.
Yeah.
So we've had to make some changes in what we're going to do, but it's awesome. And we have so much stuff that's lined up. In fact, I don't know if I can say it in this setting. We have a release that was, like I said, some people have been begging for a long time, but the interface was modeled after the interface we just rolled out. And then we just learned that the interface we just rolled out needs some improvements done. And we need to now go in and modify all the interface of the other stuff getting ready to come out in order to match the changes that have to be made, which is cool. It's actually going to save everyone a boatload of time and heartache. But yeah, it's just, we're learning as we go,
Dude, when you were 5-star window cleaning, right? Could you ever imagine that you would be so, I want to use the word intelligent, and I want to stick with the word intelligent, but I want an adverb or something in front of it, like because your intelligence is applied in this area, in this direction, which is not window cleaning either, like I might be intelligent about window cleaning, but you're intelligent in software now. Could you ever imagine that you were that you would know so much? You can rattle off all these.
Yeah. Perry, I get the heart of your question, but I'm hesitant to answer it because I think, we all know that a person who's an expert in their field has just spent time in their field, and they've accumulated a lot of knowledge and then experience to go with that knowledge, and then the wisdom to apply that experience into the knowledge. And I think that even as a window cleaner, I think that I was at least not naive enough to know that, I was young in those days, and I knew that whatever I spend my time doing and applying, as long as I'm humble as I do it, and not try to be a know-it-all, I can become an expert at that thing. But, and this is a really big but, I had no business starting a software company. My knowledge base needed far more. But here's what I knew. I knew it needed to be done. No one had done it. I was watching Amazon and eBay at the time, selling stuff online. I knew that people were shifting. Smartphones had just become a thing. And in fact, the Apple iPad, the iPad 1 had just come out after we released version 0.1 of ResponsiBid.
Wow.
And I just remember watching the world shift and going, I have no business being here. I don't know what I'm doing, but I don't think anyone knows what they're doing. And and I was just dumb enough to try it.
You've answered the question perfectly, because I'm actually going to link yesterday or the day before we talked with Ryan Kettering, and Ryan Kettering, Ryan, right?
Love that guy.
And he was just out there with an exterior services cleaning company, and he got into this niche on branding, not marketing, not advertising, just branding. And so basically, by stitching these two answers together, which is yours is perfectly answered, is the inspiration. Because always, Service Six Sigma, our audience, is like, how do we give them a gem that they can take from this podcast, And one of the gems is Kurt was a window cleaner. I was a window cleaner. Ryan was a window cleaner. Kurt's now got the best software, for home service industry in the world. Ryan's now the best brand of a home services industry in the world. We've got can I say it? We've got the best brushes for, window cleaners in the world. But we just put our heart. I thought I could pull off the best brush in the world in 3 years. It took 10.
Yeah.
For a brush, a bloody brush.
Well, I think that one of the things that I would say about that is that you have to love what you do, even if you don't know what you're doing. And I think that's okay. I think that's totally okay. I remember talking to you in the very early days. Oh man, you're bringing back some memories. What's a flocked bristle? Oh, monofill or flocked or hog's hair, or and you're talking, and then you then you start getting into the different types of carbon fiber. Hey, Jason, what's up, man?
Jason,
I was just talking about you, Jason. So I just remember you learning as you went about all the different stuff that was coming out, and you were inventing, you were observing, you were the science of. I remember like, don't push the bristles too hard; you'll get the side of the bristle brushing on. It's got to be the tips. And I remember just listening to you and going, Perry, are you having fun? Like that sounds crazy to me that we're getting this scientific about. First you clean here, then you do this, then and we're going to teach people how to use a water-fed pole the right way, because everyone's complaining that water-fed poles don't work. And I just remember thinking, I can't believe he's having fun, but you always were. And I think
I always was.
Even though you had no clue what you were doing, you didn't let that stop you from learning, so that you did have a clue. And now look at you. Now you're the authority on the subject.
Yeah, really. Yeah. We'll how about we go to the comments at the end, so we can just rattle on,
Okay. All right. Yeah. So we have people commenting right now. Are we live?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But Ben filters them so that we can get on a rant,
I was going to ask
Ben,
poor Ben's just sitting here. I need to ask Ben some questions.
Yeah.
Ben, thanks
for how high you are.
Thanks for letting me chat with an old friend. I need to ask you though. We were just talking about getting started, not knowing what you're doing. Before we got started, you said you started your company when you were 15 years old, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So didn't have a driver's license, obviously.
That's correct.
So
and no two-story homes, just one story. So if I had the water-fed pole mentality or tools and system processes, but I did not have that. Just one-story homes, ground level.
But this was 9 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm. Just about, yeah.
Yeah. The water-fed poles just come out. You didn't have a rig, obviously, because you couldn't drive it.
No,
so
I just had a little wagon that I would pull around me around the neighborhood, and had a little collapsible ladder that I could fit everything on this probably 4 foot by 3 foot, maybe 2.5 foot wagon. And I built this up like a tower, just as much stuff that I could fit on it. And that's always the whole time I've grown is just keep on stacking as I go. But just really quick, I just had the wagon towels, old raggedy towels, and just grown from there.
So how did you get into it? Because Perry, I know he got into it, and like I was just saying, he didn't know what he was doing. I started software, I didn't know what I was doing. Where did you know what you were doing? Like,
no.
What the heck?
Gosh, no. Not one thing. I had no knowledge about talking with adults. No knowledge about talking to adults or selling, door knocking, all the logistics. I didn't even have a business license, liability insurance, none of that.
No, because 15-year-olds don't have any of that. So,
I know.
And Kurt, like if I just add one dimension to this, Ben doesn't come from poverty.
Oh,
he lives in a mansion, and his family's doing real good, always did do real good, So here's this kid who's grown up with everything, gone out with a cart. Like, I mean, it's just a bizarre story.
That adds a whole new layer of respect.
Right.
I think that's such an amazing driver of you, a personality trait.
Mm-hmm.
I came from poverty. I mean, that's disrespectful to say to my father. We had enough. But I didn't, we didn't have extra. And so I came out fighting. You're just a scrappy guy just to be scrappy. Like, you're just a scrappy guy.
Yeah.
I love it. But I think that proves the point we were talking about earlier. Perry and I were talking about how the fact that, you don't know what you're doing. I feel like if you can love what you're doing, it will compensate for the fact that you don't know what you're doing. And the humility is the ability for you to learn it. And then that ability to actually, apply those learnings and gain that wisdom. Well, they don't teach wisdom in school. So you get that as the byproduct. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It's quite incredible. I want to segue across to this because now's a good time because Ben's here. Ben, if I understand clearly, you don't have ResponsiBid, right?
I was actually going to be I'll answer that in just a second. I was curious if Kurt was going to look up at least me on a Facebook level, but yes, I used to use ResponsiBid, and I was one of many users, like Kurt was saying, that had a lot of feedback. And nothing against Kurt or anything. I'm one of those guys. It's got to be quick. Like I want it now, and I've always been that way, even with starting my business. Like if there's something that needs to be done, I'm going to figure out a way how to do it.
I call him the do guy. Yeah.
But I actually have a question with that later on the show. But yeah, used to use ResponsiBid.
Okay, so we lost it.
So Kurt, I'm putting you on the spot, bro, because you got to do a little bit of sales here. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, you got to tell me. Tell me again.
But I think it's the dimension. Like firstly, let's just, for anybody who hasn't heard of ResponsiBid, let's clarify what ResponsiBid does.
Okay, so ResponsiBid, we talk quote quickly, follow up flawlessly, and schedule smartly. So if
hang on, say it slowly. You said that so quickly.
Quote quickly.
I have to stitch it together. Yeah.
So quote quickly is the idea that you can grab the specifications of the property. Maybe it's the number of windows, maybe it's the number of square footage, the roof pitch, whatever it is that you use to determine price.
Yep.
We systematize the process of taking all of those specifications and converting them into package pricing. Now, if you bid multiple services, we can even automate the process of properly packaging up the different services and putting them into bundles. So one decision, 5 services, right? So quoting quickly is really the idea that if you're going to get the math wrong, you're going to get it wrong in the favor of the customer. That's how it works every single time. Never did I ever have an employee accidentally charge a customer too much. But it also means that you are prompted to get all the right information in order to get a quote. And then if you need to tweak it, you can go in, you can massage it however you need. As an admin, you have all that power. Package it up the way you want to. Integrate video so to automate it automatically. You're personally selling to a customer online, or you have in the proposal for a customer to share with their spouse, or if they're a property manager, they could share it with maybe the engineer or whatever needs to be done. But you can include video, and these proposals get quite powerful because they sell on a good, better, best process. So it helps the customer to understand it's not a yes or no question I'm asking. I'm not giving you an ultimatum. Give me $1,000 or we don't do business at all. It's, would you prefer to have a good, a better, or a best scenario, right? So quoting quickly is very much an important part of what we do. And it's very different than every other CRM on the planet, which is why we plug into CRMs. We're a sales funnel that sits on top of CRMs, so we can give estimates and quotes in the most powerful and motivational way for a customer to move forward, but not spend all of our money on trying to compete with people who are already making great CRMs. So quote quickly, follow up flawlessly. That's the part where everyone gives quotes and then they reach out 1 or 2 or 3 times. And then guess what? The person wasn't ready right in that moment, and they didn't say no. They just said not right now. So ResponsiBid can follow up infinitely with a customer in any part of the buying cycle. So you build your customer journey in ResponsiBid, how you want them to be followed up with, and ResponsiBid will continue to follow up with them, however works best for them. That follow-up obviously pushes people to maybe 6 months down the road decide that they want to schedule. So ResponsiBid has two different ways you can schedule into your CRM. So there's one that you can turn on for your customer if you want customers to schedule. And I know a lot of people are listening going, oh no, a customer should never schedule into my calendar. It's sacred. Listen, I had a company. I know that. I'm not blind to that, but ours is actually better than you are. So, so you could allow a customer schedule, or you can make it so that your admin can schedule. And if you have like a phone answering service that answers for you, Jill's office is a really popular one. You could have someone actually giving quotes who does not live in your area that are accurate and scheduling in an efficient way. So what our Schedule Smartly process does, it's called CRUCAL, and it basically makes it so that when a person selects what they want, we already know where they live and their address, and then we map every thing on your calendar to that customer, and we figure out the most efficient drive times. We figure out how long the crew would take to do each of the services given that crew's capabilities, which crews are not capable of doing the job. And then we recommend the most efficient opportunities for you for that customer to be scheduled. Once you click schedule, it automatically creates the work order in your CRM, and it applies it to the right crew, and it puts it in the calendar with all the drive time built in, so on and so forth. So it basically is doing what your savant scheduler does every time that they schedule, but it does it with math and algorithms as opposed to just, Ben, you know this because I know we were talking earlier. When you hit your busy season, you have like the next 3 weeks kind of memorized in your head what parts of town you're going to be in. We just map it all out and figure out driving times and distances and figure it out on the fly each and every time.
Brilliant. And just really quick, does it work in Australia? Sean had a question if it works in Australia.
So for the longest time it didn't. We made an update that actually does make it work in Australia. However, I just recently learned that if you are in I'm not really good at Australia, Victoria, apparently when we send the address through the API to map it with Google Maps, apparently it comes up as Virgin Islands. So if you live in Australia and you are in Victoria, I don't think it works. Oh, is he in Victoria? Please tell me.
I think he's in Victoria. Yeah, he's in Victoria.
So
why does that happen with Google Maps? Just because
I don't know.
VI, is it the VI thing?
Yeah,
and it's just a glitch.
I think VI returns Virgin Islands.
So somehow there's a return being hit. There's VI return, right? And the return is pulling up the first VI in Google Maps.
Now, actually, I'm curious about something because now we just created a Google autofill. We just created a Google autofill that maybe would solve that problem. I would have to test it. I don't know. What a crazy question someone would ask me on here. I don't know. I'm moving to Virgin Islands. You won't regret it. You won't regret it. I've heard great things.
Right.
The drive distance from Victoria to the Virgin Islands is a long drive.
That's hilarious.
Even dangerous. Dangerous drive.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a classic. So, Kurt, who would benefit most? Because you've got the multi-truck, multi-service, and I can understand the dimensions that creates. Like a snowflake. You start with a little window cleaning. Now it's like everything and everything off everything, and then hang on, I want everything off everything with everything else off everything. Right,
bro? Have you been following me around? That's what it feels like. Yeah, that's exactly what it feels like.
So who? Is there somebody who benefits most, or is it just everybody wins? It's capable of scaling to whatever size you are, and if you're already massive.
So that's interesting. If you would have asked me that about 6 months ago, I would have said, yeah, I think you can outgrow ResponsiBid pretty easily. We actually do have, I think, the largest maid service in the country using ResponsiBid. So that kind of depends. But I'll tell you this. If you're small, ResponsiBid's amazing because you're wearing so many hats, and ResponsiBid can automate and do so much for you. And then it's that middle ground where people start saying, I just hired this guy and I've given him this part of the business and he doesn't want to use your thing. He wants to do it his way. Then we get this, like, it's kind of like my haircut right now. It's too long to be short and it's too short to be long and it looks ugly. And my bald spots are showing through.
Oh, look
It's
at them. Yeah.
Yeah. It's,
I think that, you know, you need a little cooling
That's
fins.
showing age right there.
yeah.
You need two little cooling fins. That's where your frontal.
Hang on. Let's see here. Yeah. It's happening on both sides. Yeah. Yeah.
You've burnt the grass from underneath, you know.
So I would say that in the middle stages, a lot of people will say maybe that they've outgrown it again. And then you get bigger and you need a system. And it's not that you're relying on a person to give them a system. You need a reliable, like, technological system. So, but it actually, it's funny. It kind of goes the same way. When you're small, ResponsiBid, people buy it for their online quoting. Then they get medium and they hire a sales rep and they don't want any of their leads to go through the online. They need every lead to go through a person possible.
His salary, right?
So yeah, well, and the thing is that when ResponsiBid's on your website, a lot of times you're just trying to handle the overflow. But when you get medium, no overflow. We need everything possible to go through this guy because he's going to micro upsell whatever he possibly can. He's a great salesperson, got great presence. We need to keep the schedule full. So you take it off your website and the sales rep goes out and uses ResponsiBid in that mid-sized company. But then what happens is they get old again. Yeah, you just take it off your website. Your sales rep can use it out in the field on an iPad or whatever. And then you get big again. And what happens is you got 4 or 5 sales reps, but they're all booked out 5 or 6 days and you can't keep up with everything. So now you put it back on your website again. It's so funny how it goes like boom, boom, boom. And it does the same thing. Like, so I would say that the application of ResponsiBid for every size business and every customer journey that's built will need to be used different, which if I talk about the, last 2 months of the rollout, we learned that there's an infinite, you use the word snowflake. I think that's such a perfect example. It's an infinite way of being used and you have to use it the right way to match your company's strategy. The big reason people get into frustrations, I think, is when they go, I don't know what I want. I just got you to plug a hole. And then you go, yeah.
I want to jump in right there because this is the thought I'm saving while you're talking. Anybody in business has never been where they're going, right? Yes. Unless they're going down.
yeah. No, that's true. That's true.
But those of us who coach and counsel businesses have other customers who are where you're going, right? So business owners, you hire somebody and then you want, in order to pay them the respect that they are due for the role that you've given them and the responsibilities, you're not going to overstep them all the time. So you're going to give them decision-making power. But that person may or may not have been where you're going either, right? So you get the salesman and he says, I don't want to use the system. Or you get the operations manager, he says, I don't want to use the system, right? Whatever. These people may or may not have been where you're going and you haven't been where you're going. That's why you can't be decisive. And that's fair enough. It's difficult to be decisive if you don't know. And it's really easy when you've already been somewhere. Like, you get the same mistake happen again. You go, I know what to do, right? But you get a new mistake like you had for 2 months, then you got to go through, I've got to stretch, I've got to stretch everything, all my neurons, and I've got to have a much bigger brain right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my summary to the people who have a conclusion that they don't want, can't this, can't that, ResponsiBid is that it seems to me and that probably they're wrong, but they don't know. But it's not wrong, like wrong. You know what I mean? It's probably they're it's not a wrong decision. It's an uneducated decision. You don't make a bad decision. You make a bad assumption, and based on the assumption, you make a decision. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the people go, that was a bad decision. No, it wasn't. It was a great decision based on the assumptions that we had drawn. The assumptions were wrong. That's where we got it wrong. So because the other way, Kurt, like it's a long way round to this, but I'm coming in. The thing about everything is that if you focus, if you love, if you're passionate, if you drive towards something, which is like in our industry is customer service, and you make the decision that this is what it's going to be, and if you're sure, if we're sure listening to you that it can do it, then possibly the real answer is just work ResponsiBid until it works, rather than don't work ResponsiBid because you're not sure it works. And it's not like we say, it's not what it costs you to not have a radial rocker. Like, it's not how much radial rocker costs you, it's how much it's costing you to not have radial rocker. And you must have that all the time with ResponsiBid.
I would say that's pretty accurate. Yeah, I would say it's accurate. Now, our system is a system, and some people want our system to work in a way where it just does it like they did. Like, what watch are they wearing? Do they have a Lamborghini in the garage? That's how I price out a house wash. I'm like, oh, well, ResponsiBid doesn't do that. So like we do run into situations like that. I think that as an entrepreneur, though, look, let me be really frank. If everyone doesn't use ResponsiBid, I hate them. I wish everyone used ResponsiBid. That's the truth. But I also understand that as a business owner, it's your right to build your business exactly the way you want.
Yeah.
And if ResponsiBid's not the tool to do it exactly the way you want using the system that we've built, I can totally respect that. But it does bring a lot of joy to me to jump out of bed in the morning, knowing that the system we've built is making people a boatload of money and putting a lot of husbands back with their wives and a lot of fathers back with their children, saving time, saving money, giving their customers a bigger value than they even came in thinking they were going to get. There's a lot of really good altruistic stuff in there for me. And when someone says ResponsiBid's not the right fit for me, and Ben, I'm looking at you right now. I mean, just saying that it didn't work for you, I can totally respect it. I can totally respect it. I think that the most important part of any entrepreneur is that you're being intentional and you're doing what you want to be doing. I see too many entrepreneurs who started the business because they wanted to build a job, and they still 20 years later have no idea why their business isn't working because they've never done anything intentional to build it the way that they want.
Yeah.
That part fires me up, because it's like, dude, take an afternoon, draw a map of what you want. Just think to yourself, what do you want this business to give you? What do you want your customers' experience to be in their journey? It's not going to happen by accident. You have to do it. But if you don't know what you want to do, there's nothing intentional about your life. You're being blown by the wind, and you will never end up where you're going to get exactly where you didn't expect to go.
Yeah.
True that.
Yeah.
Amen.
I kind of took that same thought process into figuring out what CRM I wanted. Like, I wrote down on a piece of paper of what I wanted in a CRM. And Jason brings up a point that it actually ResponsiBid does not work inside my CRM that I use. So if you guys had a way of, I use Workies.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you would like our new feature we just rolled out with the update. We have a new webhook that you can make as part of your follow-up steps, and that actually you could use Zapier or something to actually mimic more of a connection. But yeah,
do the same integration of what you guys have with Jobber?
No, we don't have a direct connection with Workies. My point is that if you were like bound and determined, you could make it so that when a bid goes open, it hits Zapier webhook to Workies with exactly what you're trying to do at that point, and create an action. So, that's.
Do you mind if I ask why you guys don't have an integration with Workies?
Just not a lot of call for it. We just
really?
It just hasn't been enough people asking for it to raise in Brittany's priority list.
As far as business owners coming to you that they would like to use ResponsiBid with Workies, or have you guys felt people out with Workies that maybe would be interested in ResponsiBid. I only say that because I am a brand ambassador for Workies. I work very close with their developers, and I've told them, I told them that, hey, you guys need to somehow get a connection with ResponsiBid. I've said that multiple times because I wish that I could still use ResponsiBid, and I chose Workies because they offered more features than Jobber and all these other CRMs, Housecall Pro. I've used them all with your ResponsiBid software. I use Housecall Pro, Jobber, and they all worked phenomenal. And then Workies came along, better features, but it's almost you can't get everything the best, and that's what's tough.
Does Workies have an open API?
They do.
They do. Yeah, I think that so Brittany's job is to basically collect current customer feedback and really focusing on pleasing our current customers to bring more of them in and to be pulled in. So we don't push our way into an industry. We don't push our way into a feature. Not to say we don't try to be visionary about what we do, but when we do get pulled into something, we try to approach it in a visionary way. So I think that the best thing I can say is that I can name like a handful of people who use Workies, but like if I'm at a trade show and I'm talking to people and I ask what their CRM is, basically no one says Workies. So, but obviously that also was the case for Jobber for a long time. For a long time, it was always Customer Factor, Service Monster, and then one day 10 people all use Jobber. And I'm like, what is Jobber? And then we reached out and talked to them, and we were like their very first connection outside of, using their API externally. So yeah, I know for a fact that there's a really cool guy, Lee Baker. He owns a floor company, floor epoxy coating. Hey, Jason, we'll switch if we can get response and Workies. But yeah, I think that that's a big thing right now is like, we just need the demand and the call for it, and we just prioritize it.
Makes sense, right? Because it costs money to do it.
I'll work on that. I'll get the demand.
Yeah, Ben's got the ear of the boss, so that's good.
Love it.
And
Love
you guys talk it through. Hey, Kurt, I've got a cool question for you.
Okay.
Good, better, best. What are you allowed to say? Like the systematically, like what is the percentage of customers that choose good, better, best?
You can engineer it so that it will work any way you want. So
no, but what do people actually choose? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll show you how to do it. So let's say that I've got two bags of popcorn. We're at the movie theater, and I've got a bag of popcorn for $3, and it's small. And I've got a big old tub of popcorn for $7. Which one are you going to buy?
I'm getting older, but still $7.
You're going 7? You're going to go 7? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, in the experiment that National Geographic did, they were able to determine that back in this experiment day, people went for the $3 bag mostly. If I changed it from a $3 small to a $40 big, I could push a lot more people into that $3 bag. But if I did the same thing, a $40 tub, that's crazy. That's massive. That's way too much money for a tub of popcorn. And a $3 bag, all I have to do to make you buy that big one is I just put one that's sized proportionally right in the middle and then price it at $35. And for $5 or $37, you will buy the big tub. You'll buy it. You'll just skip right over the $3 bag. You won't even buy it. So I can strategically push you to the big one. Now, if I want you to buy the middle one, if I want you to buy that middle package, and this is the more common, all I have to do is make the $3 one the value that it is. And then I place a, linearly proportional one with a non-linear price on it, throw that in at 20, we'll call it $15 maybe. And then they have the $40 one. People are going to look at that and go, no way am I going all the way up to 40. I'm just going to get this one. So people do that with their services. And the way you do it is you you make it so that the happiness scale moves at one rate and the price scale moves at a different rate. So if I'm going to get in the corner of your tracks and clean everything with a Q-tip when I'm done, you're going to pay big money for that. But the value proposition's not that much, not that high. I mean, what's the difference between vacuuming out your track and leaving a little bit of dust in the corners versus, Q-tipping it out and getting it perfect? Yeah. The value's not that high. So you can have a premium window cleaning package that costs, $5,000, and then you can have one right below it that's $2,500, and it's basically the same thing without some of the little frills. Car manufacturers do this all the time. Very, very common to get like the extra package with one more bump up in the stereo or one more bump up, but the price goes way up. That will push people to the middle. So most companies use a pricing strategy where the premium package is everything under the sun, amazing, huge amount of work done, but it's going to be expensive even with a discount. And then they give a middle that's like the best value, and people will go there.
Right.
But I will say there's a lot of people who do a good job of taking that middle package and saying, you can get all this stuff done for this, but if you want the whole house clean, every gutter, every roof tile, every patio flat work, all this stuff done, you can get this premium bundle, and it's not even that much more. And so it comes down to the strategy that you as a company build. But again, you have to be intentional about it. If you do this, if you expect it to happen on accident, it's not going to happen. Everyone will just kind of equally find a package because you're not using any strategy.
Right. Okay, I learned from that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. So target. What else do you want? Who have you not had a reach to that you want to talk to? Customer or prospect? Like, who's more interesting to you right now? Like prospective customers or no? Let's talk to prospective customers. Like what are their fears about paying money for something that quotes for them? Like, if that's as simplistic as they see it.
So rephrase your question for me, if you would. I want to make sure I answer it correctly.
Yeah. So let's say somebody, watches this, and then because I'm very passionate about ResponsiBid, as you know, and so somebody watches this and they haven't got ResponsiBid, or they've heard something about ResponsiBid, or they had it before and they've made a decision, and they sort of, it becomes a legacy decision, but they're not aware that their business has changed per se, So what is the message to them? I mean, it's more than just an online quoting system, which they may recall it as, or been exposed to, or somebody said it is, or whatever. How do we bait them to get in contact with a salesman?
Yeah, I think that's a man. Oh, how would I? There's just so much to say. There's so much to say. The world is changing. The world is changing really fast. And, it was an app world where the world is changing fast. We're now getting rides on our apps on our phone, and we're not hailing taxis anymore. And now you're ordering groceries to your house. Amazon's changed me forever. I hardly go buy anything anymore. They'll just bring it to my house. So at first that was the change. Now we've got this whole AI thing happening. And I think I would just say to someone who isn't sure about what they need to do to move into the times that fits their own desire. Again, as an entrepreneur, you get to build your future. We don't want to use technology. Don't sign up for ResponsiBid because everyone's using technology. I should use technology. It should be more of, the world is changing and I want to show up in the world this way. And this technology will allow me to show up in the world the way that best suits who I am, what I'm trying to portray into the world, what I project the best impact to be into the world. So I guess what I would say is if someone said, I'm not sure if I should sign up for ResponsiBid, or if I should use this kind of a tool, or if I should use package pricing, or if I should bundle all my services and sell, if someone calls me for a house washing, I don't know if I should try to sell them house washing, roof cleaning, gutter whitening, and flat work. I don't know if that's a good thing to do. I would just, Ben said it actually really well. And I'm going to say it in a little different way. He talked about writing a list on what CRM to use. I was having a really hard time with employees. And this was in the window cleaning world. I was having a really hard time with employees. They wouldn't show up on time. They lost all my equipment. I bought in sections of high modulus carbon fiber poles from things that were left out in the sun or broken or misused. I mean, employees were costing me more than they were making me. It got to a point where I was like, I hate these stupid people, like that. And I like people.
You like people. Yeah.
But like at one point I was like, get me out of the stinking fresh air. This is how it felt. And so one day I sat down with a notepad and I wrote down all the things that I hated about employees. And, Ben, I love Ben. He said he's had employees at some point and he doesn't have any currently. Before we got on, we were having that discussion. Yeah. And I said, I didn't say it out loud to him, but I was thinking this. I was like, good for you. You be the size you want to be. That's like, that's the thing. I had in my mind that I needed to be bigger. And thankfully I was, because when I sold, it made a big difference in what I was able to get for my company. But, God bless anybody who runs the company they want to own,
yes.
Don't build your company for someone else, So anyway, I wrote down this list and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, let's just get rid of these employees. This is a really compelling list of why to not have employees. But then I did something different than I expected to do with the list. Then I wrote, how do I fix each and every one of these problems? How do I get people to be motivated to not leave all of my expensive microfiber towels, because I was buying the scrims and the nice micros, right. And how do I get them to put the hog's hair brush properly away each time, or, not back into statues every time they're on a mansion property, how do I motivate these people? And I built a certification program, didn't know I was doing it at the time, but I built a certification program that basically allowed people to control their raise based on how competent they were proving to be and how good of a mentor they were proving to be. Perry, I'll tell you what, man, it took all of like a day to write it down and to get intentional. And I know this has been a common theme, and people probably think I don't know anything except for just using the word be intentional. But guys, I promise you, this is important stuff. I got down my employees and I said, look, I would like all of you to make a $2 an hour raise. So you need to become 1-star certified. Then you need to be 2-star certified. And I just written a list of what it means to be a 1-star certified all the way up to 5-star certified employee.
And they had to read a book too, didn't they?
They had to read a few books and write reports on the books. Yeah. They did. Yeah. You remember that? Yeah.
I remember that.
I'll tell you, it just transformed everything. And the difference wasn't what I wanted. The difference was getting clear on what I wanted and sharing that clarity with other people. And so I'm finally back to your question, Perry. Your question was, what would you say to somebody who doesn't know how to fit in the systems that will take them where they're trying to go, and whether it's ResponsiBid or otherwise?
Yep.
I know I modified your question a little bit, but
I was perfect and perfectly said, and perfectly said, because we say whether it doesn't matter if it's Reach It or something else. It doesn't matter. But
get clear and understand what stepping stones you need to take to get there. I will say that in today's world, the reason that people aren't using a pencil and paper and surviving where they would have thrived in the early 1900s, people with a hand ledger did great. And they had all sorts of employees to run their shops and all the different things, but it won't work today. Your efficiencies have to be too high. Technology, I promise you, is a part of what you need in order to survive in today's economy. There's no getting around it. You can't be efficient enough to produce enough, to compete enough with the people who are using the technology today. If you want to run your business without a smartphone, without any internet connection, without any phone or whatever, I wish you the best of luck, but you're screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the stepping stones to get you on whatever the clarity is that you want to do, I'm just telling you that the business models that are going to survive today are going to require technology for sure.
And faster than what we can imagine, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. So ResponsiBid, we're looking at different opportunities for AI and how we can use it. And, you know, we don't want to apply it just so that we can say we're AI enabled. But things are moving very, very fast right now. And you know, you need to know like, how is the speed? What does it look like for us to move faster? And yeah, so you want to get it right. Typically, the first movers pave the way for the second movers, but the 10th movers are often at the at the mercy of the second or the third.
Basically, the 10th movers are non-movers.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah.
Can we use like a verb like accelerate?
Accelerate. I remember that.
Yeah, because you basically say, like, map down your efficiency, understand what efficiency you have, then look at where time is being used, and then saying, well, if I didn't have to use this time, then I could I automate it? And then don't be worried about whether automation is congruent with your character, because change has pain. There's, in order to get from here to there, you have to go through chaos. There's always, you have to undo to do. There was another thing I was going to say before also. I'll just pop this one in because I got a little smaller screens I got to say. But in any business, whatever you're doing now will work to a certain point, and then it will not work. And then you have to change everything, but you think you're improving everything, but actually you're not. You have to, you have to tear down everything in order to improve everything, right? Yeah. You have to break. You want a revolution? You've got to destroy what exists, right? Yeah. You can't have a revolution without destruction, right? So chaos and destruction is all part of revolution and part of change and part of escalation. And I want to tie this up with that point that everybody in business hasn't been where they haven't been yet, and they may not be aware that their systems are starting to break down and fail them, but because they've worked so well and they were developed so perfectly, then there's an addiction and a conviction, right, to what I have, without the open mind or the realization that I'm at a point of change and I need to break what is in order to be what I can be. And we're at that time in the business world where everything is going to full automation. Oh, you can hear the ding, ding, ding. Can you? That's a live chat. Yeah. Hang on. Oh. There.
Yeah. I think that concept you're describing, it's such an unfortunate thing for people who wanted to stand back and admire what they've built. It's such a frustrating thing that you're going to build something that's going to work, and it's going to work for a little while. Just reminds me of raising each and every.
But it always will. It always will only work for a little while, but not everybody teaches that. Nobody. No. Like, I listen to all the speakers. Nobody teaches you that it's what you build will work, and then it won't work, and then you need to change. Because everything is changing, and you get, especially when you get bigger, and then you start putting people on, and you have to rely on them, and then they know better than you because you're trusting them, but then you find out they don't know better than you, and you should go back to your intuition and your be a leader and keep your vision on the company, and don't surpass it with somebody else's vision that you just hired somebody to come in, But on the other side, I look at you and I go, like, how far can Kurt's brain expand, to all of this? And at what point does he need to find somebody who's been bigger than he is in the software world? Yeah. You know what I mean? That's possibly somewhere on the road,
It really is. I mean, Ben was in here talking about, I don't know about the leadership of Workies. I'm assuming they're a fairly large company, but Jobber, the guy who started Jobber Forest, I believe it is, he brought in big money, and he had to sort of move himself down in the company to bring someone up. House Call Pro, they had to hire they're $1 billion company. Service Titan, all these softwares, and I'm using software examples because that's sort of the industry that
good.
Yeah. But you're absolutely right. I'm having a ball right now, but the thing is at some point I'm not going to be the right person for this company. Not in this position,
Yeah, but you take chairman of the board, but you don't take the general manager. You know, the general manager has to have such. You know,
Yeah,
you'll always have
and
the vision for the company.
You know, I talked about earlier. You know, it's the humility and the wisdom. You have to be not thirst for knowledge, humble enough to know that you don't know it all, and then that wisdom to apply it. And I think that's a common thing that goes through my mind is like, will I be humble enough when the time arises to say, no, I don't know. So I don't want to say it out loud, but yeah. So when my kids, I thought I knew I was parenting them just fine. The moment I thought I was a great parent to any one of my kids, the moment I thought I'd figured them out, they just immediately changed. And I think it's just a rule, you know. For me, I'm a religious person. I think it's a law of God that you cannot sit and just sorry when people talk about their version of heaven just being this eternal niceness. I don't know about that. I'm not sure about that because the pattern God's shown me is that you're going to grow and then you're going to sort of master something and then it's going to get ripped out from underneath you and then it's time to grow again. And you know, whether you believe that you grow in heaven or not, I just don't see that God has not shown me that sitting still is his way. And so who knows? Well, I guess we'll find out how that goes. But
totally agree. If everybody just understood, for me, like a non-religious person could understand this one concept that if we were simply made by God and then he just left us all alone and that's why we think there is no God, that's fine. Like, but if we understand that we were made in God's image and God, therefore God is a creator, we are a creator. We are meant to be a creator, not a consumer, right? So when we go to add value as business people and entrepreneurs, we go to add value to other people by creating things, not copying things, you know, creating things that create an idea that is designed that it becomes a creation is the innovation and is to create something that did not exist before, not to copy something that does exist. You know, this is a different form of entrepreneurialism, right? It's copy. Yeah. The copy entrepreneur is not the same as the creating entrepreneur, but the creating entrepreneur is channeling a force. Like I always say, constructor brush, which is now radial brush, you know, in its final and perfect form, you know, where did that come from? You know, I go, oh, you know, like publicly I claim, me, you know, but privately I 100% say, I don't know. Therefore, it came from God, you know. So he gave me this little 7-channel aluminum body, you know, and said, here you are, have a play with this. Yeah. And 10 years later, we've played with it. We've now got a 3-channel one and a 4-channel one and a, you know, but the proof of the pudding is like that we've got the best brushes in the world that can do things that no other brush can do. And it all came from a 7-channel 2-tube aluminum idea that we 3D printed, you know, and go, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I become the claimer, you know?
And I think that's what's so fun about it. Like, you know, I don't know if I have the story 100% right, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty correct. Were you aware that the Nest, first of all, do you know what the Nest thermostat is?
No.
Oh, well, this isn't going to be very
Maybe I do. No, maybe I do.
It's this really cool round thermostat you put on your house to control the temperature, and it's blue when it's cold and it's red when it's heating, and it's like remember the old iPod that was just one dial with your finger you could turn?
Yeah.
So it's just such a beautiful thermostat. So
and Ben does. Ben remembers them.
Oh, he does. Okay, good. Oh yeah, there you go. Thanks, Ben. So so the Nest thermostat was actually designed by a Honeywell engineer at Honeywell, and he brought it to them. I don't know about in China how the laws work there, but in the United States, if you have anyone creating, whether they're an engineer, in my case, it's code, people have to sign it. In order for you to counteract what the natural law is, you have to have a work for hire agreement that basically says, whatever you create belongs to me, the company. Now, by default, if you don't have that in place, any creator of anything Doesn't matter if you got paid to create it or whatever. You own the IP of that thing.
Wow. Okay.
So now Honeywell had the work for hire agreement in place. So they owned the idea, but he walks in the boardroom, he shows it to them, and he says, guys, this is it. This is amazing. Honeywell says, we've been making thermostats for years. We use buttons. We have dial screen, regular rectangular screens with LCD, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, no. In the world of smartphones, this one can be controlled from on a Wi-Fi environment, and it does all this other stuff. They're like, look, you've way turned this into something too silly, fancy. No one will buy it. So he says, all right, you're wrong. You don't want it? They said, we don't want it. He said, you're sure you don't want it? They said, we're sure we don't want it. He said, I'm out of here. He went and took his plans and he built it, and it took off. And Honeywell sued him and said, hey, we have a work for hire agreement. We own that IP. But they had rejected the IP. And so, I guess he was able to prove in the courts that, hey, I gave them the IP. I tried to give them the IP and they didn't take it. So I went and started my own company with it, and it's my IP. And again, I hope I didn't butcher that story too much, but here's the point I'm trying to make, is that if we were an employee and everything we created was just one little tiny appendage that may or may not make it through to the world or whatever, gosh, what kind of life is that? And I think that there's a lot of people who like the comfort of working for someone else, and that probably totally get that concept and they're fine with it.
Yeah.
But if you can't get that concept, which I can't, and I know you can't, and
No,
I'm sure Ben
right.
can't, and I'm sure most of you watching this podcast can't. That's the cool thing. We create, and we put it out into the world, and somebody gets a chance to. The first time I was sitting at a conference, and I was sitting in the back of the room, and I looked down, and I see a person using ResponsiBid on their website. They were doing a quote while they're,
way.
or whatever. I'm like, like there's no words, right? It's such an exciting feeling, and here I am, like I am in their life, right? And then and it's kind of similar. I know it's a little bit different, but we had something called monsoon season in Arizona. Basically, from about July to the end of September. You never know when a dust storm and a little pittering rain is going to come and mess up every clean window. So nobody wants to get their windows cleaned. Everyone says, oh, Arizona has no winter. Yeah, we don't, but we have monsoon season, which is kind of the same thing. Anyway, to survive, I created this program called Monsoon Proof Windows. You get your windows cleaned during monsoon season. Call us in October if you want us to come out and do touch-ups. We'll come out and do touch-ups for free. So we would sell window cleaning. We'd go out and do touch-ups. And I would go back in October or, sometime in the first part of October, and I would see windows under all the patios that were still crystal clean, and I remember, we'd gotten there and we'd cleaned the windows and they were a mess. And it's that like you've been looking out that razor sharp, clean view. I made that. It just feels good,
Window cleaning is so satisfying. My most satisfying window cleaning story is when I just cleaned a sliding door and they didn't have the tape on it. And the customer walked into their own door.
That is epic. I had a person call and say, I'm not sure if I'm calling to complain or if I'm calling to compliment you, but my daughter just hurt her or broke her nose going into the sliding glass door. Of course, next time we're out, we'll take her face print off of there. But it's a good, like.
That's amazing. Yeah, you just know you've done it right. Yeah, it's great. Hey, Kurt, have you got I'm enjoying this too much, but have you got another few minutes for some questions, or like we can play up all the comments that have been going on and just bash our way through them?
Yeah,
are you good?
Do that. Sure.
Ben, you probably got a chunk, but let's see what we're going to throw
got
up.
A chunk. I'm just going to go through them.
Crack on.
Here's a good one.
Jason Cornett. Hey, Jason. This is for 20 years. Started responsible for 2 years. It's been a game changer. Hopefully, they'll become a full CRM in the future. Well, our goal is to be the greatest sales tool in the home service industry, but I will take that under advisement. Thank you, Jason. And I'm so glad that it's done such a big game changer for you. Oh, that's awesome. I
Wow.
just saw that. Yes, I just saw Nassau pressure washing. I just saw it come through. And is it pronounced Nassau? Nassau pressure washing?
No idea.
What's that?
Nassau. No,
Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
I just saw that sign up come through. So yeah, hey,
Right.
welcome to the Responsive fam.
And it is a family, right? You do run a genuine community, don't you? You've got Responsicon or something, have you?
Yeah, we have a user conference. We rebranded the home service workshop. We're actually going to go back to Responsicon and have the collective run the home service workshop. So we're gonna, yeah, it's awesome. People just rave about that.
Yeah, really.
Brittany.
Yes, she really is.
Yeah.
I cannot believe she's one of those.
She's been with you for a long time.
Yeah, I think she just celebrated her third year.
Okay.
Maybe? She's one of those people.
Maybe it feels
wake
a long
up in the
time that
morning-
I stopped using ResponsiBid, because I remember working with Brittany as well.
Oh, do you? How long was that?
Oh, I can't remember when I
Must be less than 3 years.
Must have been.
She is one of those people. When I'm meeting with her, I'm like, what happens if she finds out that I'm a total, like, I don't know what I'm doing, and she leaves? Please don't.
She's on
like,
top
don't
of
find out.
things.
She really is. She
Like
is.
when I
They're
was getting
amazing
phone
people.
calls from her every week, are you on top of your training that you're supposed to do? It's like,
This is the
no.
thing. I'll tell you what, there are gem people. I've got a lady who worked for me, Jenny, right? And she was working for us in China. She'd been a school teacher and didn't like it, been working for me and helping us out and doing all this stuff, and amazing. Went on holidays, went back to the States, right? Got interviewed for a job to be the PA to the marketing manager of Procter & Gamble. This is a year ago. And now she wrote the other day, like, she's just been given the job to be the PA of the big boss of Procter & Gamble.
Oh my gosh. And she worked for you.
And she worked for me, like, and she used me as the testimony for how she got a job and all that. But my point is not that. But my point is the talent, they say, put the people on the right bus, put them in the right seat on the bus. There are people out there that are just amazing, but they may not have amazingness in the CV-ish because they haven't found the right boss.
Yeah.
Like really, Brittany's one of those. Like, she may not have flourished before in any other company, but she's got to ResponsiBid and have CURT there. And
I'm going to say something right now that's totally, by the way, you've been putting up stuff from Jamie. I love Jamie so much.
Jamie, we're going to get you on, bro. I'll write to you afterwards.
Yeah. Oh, I hope you do. He's so awesome.
Yeah, he's solid.
Brittany said,
Mr. Positive.
My very first one-on-one with Brittany, my very first one, this is what she said. She said, Kurt, I knew the moment you guys interviewed me, I'm ResponsiBid for life. She said, wow. This is where I belong. This is my home. And I was like, what? Like, what? Like, can you pay a higher compliment? Like, oh gosh. I was like, oh my goodness. And of course, it means a lot when someone says it, but when someone really talented and really just smart, smart, and
could go anywhere type person. Yeah.
Like, you really, like, oh my god. So yeah.
Yes, Kurt, you are that good.
Anyway, well, that's cool. So Sean, he's would you recommend other window cleaners to enter the software game? Yeah, I would.
Why not?
Like, again, it goes back to like how much of a thrill. If you love what you do and you're okay with just not knowing what you're doing, I say go for it. But I will say this, is that I would not recommend someone coming in without the technical chops and playing in today's world. I would say be smart about it. There's a lot of ways to learn now. And they say a wise man learns from his mistakes, but a super wise man learns from other people's mistakes. So maybe hit me up and I can give you like a quick PhD in pain and suffering and help you get
You mentioned this already, that it would benefit a solo person as of myself.
Oh yeah.
Solo operators, business owners are
it goes back to the simple thing is like, how much time have I got? How much time am I spending on what am I spending it on? How, like, even like, it doesn't matter whatever it is, the target, which Kurt was talking about before, is that the target is efficiency. In order to compete in this world and take your business forward so it can become legacy, you have to find efficiency. ResponsiBid is a form of it's an efficiency tool, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Response non-negotiable expense. Well, yeah, Sean, the way I see it is that if it's not making you 10 times what you're paying for it, then you're either not using it right or something's wrong. You know, it should be non-negotiable if you're using it.
We're all breathing.
There's so many.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Tim.
But Tim's on tomorrow night.
Oh, okay. What is
it?
I don't know Tim's story. What? I mean,
he's bright and clean, so he does anything to do with glass. He's got he's part of the Diamond Fusion network.
Oh, Diamond Fusion. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll talk a bit of that and a bit of this. And he's got an interesting life. And he worked very closely with us for Fog Blaster when COVID came out, because I realized it was an airborne virus. Anyway, we'll talk about that tomorrow night.
Cool. Will ResponsiBid incorporate AI? We are looking at opportunities to incorporate AI. What we're afraid of doing is making it gimmicky and making it not super helpful, but like whatever. So I'm going to just go ahead and admit to you that what we're looking at doing right now, I don't think will be what we actually do. My idea of AI, the way I see AI working the best, is how do I take minimal inputs or no input and get you something that how do I get you to do what you're going to do anyway and either do less of it with a better result or not have to do any of it and get a superior result. That's how you apply intelligence to things, artificial intelligence. So right now, the way that we're looking at incorporating it, I think it's not going to enhance the experience to the degree that I feel would move past gimmicky. So we're still doing a lot of user testing. And Sean, being a user responsive, Brittany is our product manager at this point. She's what I call the CEO of the product. If you are in the user group, Brittany will periodically put out there that she's looking for testers or people to talk with. If you have ideas and you're willing to sit down with Brittany for 30 minutes to an hour, we're really open to ideas of what people think. But the idea is that what could we do to make it not gimmicky and make it powerful? Yeah.
And not corny. Like I said the other day, like if I know I've got something from AI because to do with the window cleaning, it always comes back with the words crystal clear. And I go, if anybody from the window cleaning industry genuinely wrote to me from their brain and used the term crystal clear for window cleaning.
Yeah.
No.
Hey, Sean.
Sounds like Sean really wants crew cal in Australia or.
Yeah, Sean, that's a great question. So what I would say is hit us in the you can't move to the Virgin Islands. Okay. Well, okay. Fair enough.
That's right.
And you know what? Happy wife, happy life. I think if you could reach into the chat or on Facebook, get with Brittany. That's some great testing that you guys we could do and figure out. And even if we get a bad result, the cool thing of the test is that we could figure out how to, maybe make some changes. But one of the things that I think will be in our favor is that now that we're using this Google autocomplete for addresses, there's a chance that now it's encoded properly for Victoria. So I think we stand a chance here. Ooh, Tim, that is a great question. I actually had not heard of ServiceMinder until about 2 months ago. And I was having a conversation. It was not a conversation I can talk about here, but I'm very interested in learning more about ServiceMinder. We would probably have to use like some sort of Zapier thing. I was talking about Workies, maybe connecting via Zapier with our new webhook follow-up connection. But obviously a direct connection is much better. Ben was talking about how nice it works with House Call Pro and Java when you're actually deeply connected. So I still need to learn more about ServiceMinder, but the conversation I was having about it is that it's actually a really cool CRM. So I guess the answer is no. I don't think it does unless they have a Zapier connection where they can allow incoming webhooks. But
would these guys like Workies and ServiceMinder, Kurt, would you look at doing, because they're obviously going to be spending more money marketing than other companies. Would you look at doing bundles that they can sell ResponsiBid with their CRM as they're trying to secure new customers?
We've tried that model before. The problem with that model is that our billing and support and their billing and support would be different. Right. And so we found that bundling things together and selling them through other sellers, it creates a disjointed experience and also kind of a fake. And
you've got double implementation. So you got the overload of implementation. Can I ask you one more technical question? If somebody's got a multiple vehicle, multiple service business, right, and they have a CRM, they have they don't need to migrate any data, do they, into ResponsiBid? No. So the integration is really all about how do you want your packages to be preserved, but there's no, you don't have to undo anything to add ResponsiBid.
Right.
It's synced.
That's right.
That's nice.
Two-way sync.
Yeah. What would be one of your most popular webhooks?
I don't know what he means by that.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah.
Figure Kurt would.
I was gonna say it's not like what's your most popular flavor of ice cream. So
what is your most favorite favorite flavor of ice cream?
I gotta be honest. I just tried something. Poor Sean. He's like, I asked the question and you're ignoring me.
Barry's hijacked it, but I know you love ice cream and milkshakes.
The other day I was in.
Yeah, Jason said that somebody get him a milkshake.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, love my milkshake. I'm a milkshake connoisseur. I was in Wilmington, Virginia for Sales Boost conference, and I had an ice cream that was totally mind-blowingly good, and it was cereal milk ice cream. Now I know it sounds, yeah, I know, and I'm hesitant to even tell you this because you guys think that there's something wrong with me now, but I'm telling you right now, it was homemade. This shop makes their stuff right there in town. There's nothing else like it. ResponsiBid Whirl.
Sean's on fire.
Yeah, he really is. You know what? I'm not answering your question, John.
For the next ResponsiCon, you should have ResponsiBid Whirl, your favorite ice cream.
ResponsiBid ice cream.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Then everybody will understand how you tick.
And then there's another one they made called Fluffernutter. And the Fluffernutter ice cream was the marshmallow cream with peanut butter in a vanilla base. I'm telling you guys, I left Sean. I left Virginia changed man. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to say.
Wow.
He asked the question about most popular webhook. Here's the deal. We don't really monitor like a webhook going out per se. I'll just say that if you're a coder and you have a software that you want to connect to ResponsiBid via webhook, you can do anything you want. You can do anything you want with our webhook. Like you can do all sorts of crazy stuff. But most people aren't. And so I would say the most popular is to send our webhook to Zapier so that you can send all of our data to Zapier. It'll organize it nice and clean for a non-coder. And then you can connect it to anything that connects to Zapier. So in that sense, it's kind of it's a get out of jail free card, right? Because most people are non-technical. They'll send their webhook to Zapier and then they'll do any number of a billion things with it. And so I don't really know.
So Workies does have a Zapier integration.
Yeah.
So could you do what you're doing in Jobber with Zapier to Workies, or is it kind of limited?
Depending on what they do with the webhooks and stuff and how, there wouldn't be a two-way sync. So like if you change the price in
Customers and stuff.
ResponsiBid, you could get it to change inside of WorkEase. But if you changed the price inside of WorkEase, it probably wouldn't change inside of ResponsiBid.
What about the client list?
Well, you want to draw the client list in from WorkEase?
The way that I remember using ResponsiBid, you could search the customer and it would pull that from your CRM.
Yeah, so Zapier is not going to allow us to pull.
Okay.
Like, because a webhook is basically sending a specific customer's data at a specific moment in time with a dump of data to be utilized however you want in that CRM.
Yeah, we can.
Tim did say that his software that he was talking about, ServiceMinder, does have a Zapier.
So yeah, that opens a lot of opportunity. Yeah. Now, obviously, if we get enough demand, obviously, like we were talking about earlier with WorkEase, you know, you just need to move it up the priority list.
I'm gonna work hard on that.
All right, that's what I love to hear. So thank you, Kurt, for the notifications when bids are open. I know your view on it, but you still made it happen. That's what I love about responsibility in the community. So, yeah, thanks, Jamie. I'm getting a little called out here. Look, there's a lot of things ResponsiBid does that I don't think it should do, but our customers have, you know, really begged for it. So apply a little vision to it and make it work the way people want. So yeah, you're right.
Hey,
you're right, Jamie.
The other one, like, so, you know, in my little Service Six Sigma pitch, I say you can use ResponsiBid, or you can use the phone and Google Earth, or you can go out in person. And then what I've learned from you tonight is that actually you can use ResponsiBid for all of those.
Yeah, you sure can.
And you didn't even pick me up on it and tell me I'm wrong.
Well, I'll let it slide this time.
I'm going to change my pitch tomorrow. I'm going to represent ResponsiBid perfectly tomorrow.
Don't let it happen again, mister.
I'm going to have the best pitch. Like,
oh gosh, that's funny.
Well, that is it.
Is that it? Well, we've done. Kurt, I totally appreciate all the time you've given us. It's been super fun.
Perry, it's been too long. We cannot let this happen again. I actually think that next time I come to the Philippines, maybe I should
duck through Thailand. It's a couple of hours, bro. It's a couple of hours.
Yeah, my last layover was in Taipei, and
do that. Stay over in Phuket or Bangkok to Phuket, whatever.
How close are you to Bangkok?
Oh, you'd want to fly an hour 20, I think, is the flight. You know, so you'd
no. How close are you? What airport would I need to fly into to see you?
Our airport is Phuket, but you could go to Bangkok to Phuket if you wanted to. But I'm in Phuket, which is beautiful, and what you need just that chill time, Kurt. Just chill time.
Chill, yeah.
We'll go and watch little fish in the ocean.
Throw this back. You think
I'll get you sunburnt there, and you know.
Perry,
no, it'd be marvelous if you could.
One of my favorite things about you, all the times we've known each other, you've never hesitated to laugh at yourself. And and obviously you can tell I'm the same way. If you can't laugh at yourself, you're only letting other people laugh at you. You know, so you got to join in. Good night, fellas. Good. And put our responsive socks on. Go to bed.
Famous responsive socks.
That is great. Hilarious.
Well,
but
Perry,
we should swap notes on merch, because Ben, but we're going to get into merch.
Is like a good idea.
We talked about monetizing, Service Six Sigma. And we thought the only real way to do it is to have the coolest merch and let people just buy a bit of merch and we make, 20-30% on it. It's so much more fun than, subscriptions or too hooked to advertisers and advertisers' expectations and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, the socks are popular. We're gonna knock your socks off, so we got to replace them.
I'll show you what Harrison made. He's at the Hong Kong Sevens. Oh boy, we're running on time, but I love you so much. I'm just gonna stoke you up. Poor
Ben. He's like,
this the Ningbo Rugby is his team, right?
Okay.
The Ningbo Rhinos, sorry, it's a rugby team, and that's this little symbol in their little shield. This is like a hand towel, a microfiber sweat towel, right? And he got them made just for the boys to go to Hong Kong with, in a mug and some stuff. But that's pretty cool. Like for a window cleaner, I said to him, like, we should get Reach It, merch for that. Like, if it's a high quality microfiber, they could scrim with it, But other than that, just a sweat towel, like a gym towel,
As a Phoenix window cleaner, I felt that.
Well, it's hot here too, Thailand. Anyway, this is by the by. Mate, you're wonderful. Thank you very much. I totally appreciate you. I've always said that if I was ever going to be any religion, I would be a Mormon because of you.
Well, I would hope that you would join your religion based on a person.
You're the best guy on the planet, bro. You really represent the beliefs super well.
Man.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
In fact, I'll tell you that I think I told Ben that last night.
You did.
I think I did. Yeah. When we were just chatting.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. And for those of you who are thinking of joining Mormonism because I'm a Mormon, actually, now we're supposed to call ourselves members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
There's two of us right here.
Like, where's the efficiency in that?
I am too.
Okay.
Where's the efficiency in that? We're meant to be getting more efficient.
Listen. We need to make sure people know that we
just got to convert Perry.
LDS.
But I'll tell you this: you join a religion not because of a person, but because of your personal testimony. And I know this is not a religious show, but I'll say this is
no, we allow it, bro. There's no censorship. We love what it is. It is what it is.
The relationship with Jesus Christ in my life has been the absolute most pinnacle and important part, and it's turned me into who I am. And I'm glad that the fruit of my life is something that you find desirable, Perry. But man, I have met so many people who've made big decisions in their life based on just what another person told them. And my encouragement to anybody out there would be that if you're looking to make a change in your life and you think you want to make a change, make sure that your conversion or the thing that you do is in something timeless and not something that is contained in the world.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Very beautiful. That's what I love about how, because me and Ben are Service 6 Sigma. We can let anybody say whatever they want, about anything they want. That's great, isn't it? And it's true because that is who we are. That is who you are.
Yeah.
I just think you're an amazing human being, and I know that your belief and your faith is really a big part of that. And so it should be part of your story that you can tell people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Here we are. Hey, please say hi to Rachel. I'm sure the kids won't remember me because they were all little.
Actually, Jaron does remember you. I was talking to him on Monday. He's actually on a mission right now, in Philly, and he remembers you. It was so funny. I'm like, you remember it? Like you were just. He's like, yeah, I just remember. I must have been like 4 years old or something. Like he remembered you.
It's like this tower of man who really wanted to jump down the stairs with him, but it wasn't allowed to.
Yeah, I wouldn't allow it. Yeah, that's true. Anyway. All right.
That was a wonderful time. All right, buddy. We will keep in touch and see you on Voxer and fantastic show. Thank you.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
See you, mate.
We'll see you.
All right, we're going to see everybody next time. We will see you guys all tomorrow. We want to thank you for joining our show, and we will see you guys next time. Have an epic day. For joining our live stream today and being part of our Service 6 Sigma community. First, if there are any future guests that you would like to hear from, pass them along to us and have them message myself or my co-host Perry Tate. We are always looking for new guests and business owners to join our show. Lastly, if you could please share this podcast with others, including social media, that way other people like you can learn and grow from what we have to offer. We have many shows and great speakers. So there will always be something that we can offer. We're working very, very hard behind the scenes for Service Six Sigma, and we want to reach as many other business owners as possible. I hope you guys have an epic day, and we will catch you guys next time. Bye-bye.